Few people realize this, but Napoleon Hill never truly wrote about money. He wrote about minds, and that's exactly why most people never become wealthy, even after working their entire lives. If wealth were just about effort, the world would be full of exhausted millionaires, but it isn't. Hill spent more than 20 years interviewing the richest and most powerful men of his time. And the more he observed, the clearer one uncomfortable truth became. Poor people think they want money. Rich people know money as a consequence. And this is where almost everyone goes wrong, right at the beginning. Most people were taught to seek security, not power. To seek approval, not vision. To seek a paycheck, not control. From an early age, we are trained to desire comfort. And comfort is the greatest enemy of wealth. Napoleon Hill called this the great invisible trap. It doesn't look dangerous, it looks reasonable. Have a backup plan. Don't take too many risks. Be realistic. Those phrases never built empires, they built obedient employees. Hill noticed something disturbing. Most people live their entire lives without ever making a definitive decision. They think about changing, they intend to, they plan, but they never decide with their whole soul. And without total decision, there is no lasting wealth. Because wealth demands something most people avoid at all costs: absolute responsibility. When you accept that you are fully responsible for your financial life, there's no one left to blame. Not the government, not the economy, not your family, not bad luck. And that's terrifying. Hill said people prefer familiar poverty over a kind of wealth that requires inner confrontation. But the most ignored part of his teaching is this: most people never get rich because they don't have a purpose strong enough to endure discomfort. They want money, but they don't want the psychological price it demands. Because getting rich isn't just about gaining more. It's about losing old versions of yourself. It's losing friends, losing identity, losing the approval of people who only respected you while you were predictable. Hill called this the invisible cost of wealth, and almost no one is willing to pay it. Another point he hammered home, but few truly understand: the mind obeys the ideas you emotionally repeat. Most people repeat fear. They repeat scarcity. They repeat inherited limitations, not because they want to, but because they never questioned them. If you grew up hearing money is hard, rich people are greedy, that's not for people like us. Those ideas don't stay in the conscious mind. They become silent commands, and the mind obeys. Hill didn't call this bad luck. He called it programming. And here comes the most uncomfortable part of all. Most people don't fail because of lack of opportunity. They fail out of loyalty to what they know, loyalty to family, loyalty to environment, loyalty to the identity of "this is just who I am." Becoming wealthy is often an act of inner rupture. It means saying no to old stories, betraying other people's expectations, choosing a future no one around you can even imagine, and that creates loneliness. Hill said wealth begins the moment you stop asking for psychological permission to exist at a higher level. It's not about working more. It's about thinking differently when no one is watching. It's about holding a clear vision, even when there's no evidence, even when results haven't arrived yet, even when everything feels silent. Because before external wealth, there is always a period of internal emptiness, where nothing seems to be happening, but everything is being built. Most people quit there. They mistake silence for failure, delay for error, discomfort for a sign to stop. The few who become wealthy understand something simple, yet rare. Delay is not denial, it's preparation. And if this message is resonating with you, it may not be a coincidence. You might be at that invisible point where there are still no results. But you can no longer go back to who you used to be. That point separates almost everyone from the very few who cross over. Napoleon Hill never promised easy wealth. He revealed why most people never get there. And now the question isn't about money. It's about you. Do you want comfort or control? Do you want security or sovereignty? Because wealth always responds to the same things: clarity, decision, and the courage to carry your own destiny. And that, most people never learn. And before we end, there's something Napoleon Hill never framed as simple advice. He left it as a quiet warning. A mind that awakens to these truths can no longer pretend it doesn't know. After this point, there is no neutrality. Either you return to the comfort of unconsciousness, or you cross the discomfort of lucidity. Because from now on, every choice you delay won't be due to lack of information, but fear of becoming who you could be. Most people will close this video and return to their routine, not because they didn't understand, but because they understood too well. A few will feel a subtle discomfort, hard to explain, as if something was remembered, not learned. That discomfort is the signal. It appears when an old version of you starts losing authority, when old excuses stop convincing, when the future begins to demand a position. Napoleon Hill said the most dangerous moment in life is not failure. It's the moment you realize you could win, and still choose not to act. If you ignore this call, it will fade. The mind always finds ways to numb itself, but if you hold that silence for a few seconds longer, if you observe honestly what it awakens, something begins to reorganize inside you. Wealth does not appear first in the world. It appears when you definitively decide that you will no longer live below your own level of awareness. And that decision makes no noise. It doesn't ask for applause. It doesn't ask for approval. It simply changes everything. If this video touched something in you, don't move on as if it were just more content. Subscribe to the channel, not out of habit, but as a silent commitment to yourself. Here, every video is a test of awareness, a provocation, a mirror. And if that discomfort continues echoing after the video ends, turn on the bell. Because the next messages aren't made to entertain the majority, they're made for those ready to claim their own power. Now, the choice is no longer external, it's intimate, and those who truly understand this lesson don't need to be convinced to continue. They simply can't stop anymore.